So many of you have asked me to share a video on intermittent fasting, so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Think of this as a beginner's guide. We are going to cover the basics, and I'm going to do my best to really try to simplify the concept and the process. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Dani Spies. I'm a health, weight, and wellness coach, and I love helping people make healthy eating easy, doable, and delicious. And before I jump in, I'd like to thank LMNT for sponsoring this video, and I plan to share more on them in a bit. So, what is intermittent fasting? Also known as time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting is just that. It's when you choose to eat your meals within a specific time window throughout the day. And then for the rest of the day, you are not eating at all. So you're not consuming any type of calories or any type of energy, which is why we call it fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is not a form of caloric restriction in the sense that it's not about eating less. It's simply about eating less often. Although I will say for many people, it does result in eating less simply because when you restrict the amount of hours within the day that you can consume food, kind of natural byproduct for many people is that they consume less food, but not true for everybody. And technically, intermittent fasting is also not a diet because, again, the focus is on the eating window, not so much the food. But I do think it's important to note that the type of food you eat can make your fast feel easier or more difficult. And that's something I'm going to talk more about later in the video. So why fast? There are two main reasons that people choose to experiment with intermittent fasting. The first is weight loss, and the second is simply to reap the health benefits that are associated with intermittent fasting. So let's chat about what some of those are. The very first one is that it lowers insulin levels. Now, if you're not familiar with insulin, it is sometimes called the transport hormone, and that is because whenever you eat anything, your blood sugar rises, also known as glucose. When you have glucose in the blood, insulin is released to transport that glucose or that blood sugar to the liver, to the muscles, then eventually to fat stores. Now, when insulin levels are elevated, fat burning, or the process called lipolysis, is turned off. This is why insulin is also known as the storage hormone, because when insulin is elevated, the body does not have the ability to access fat stores for energy. But when insulin levels are lower, which happens when we are fasted, the body then can access its own fat stores to use for fuel. And this is why a lot of people like to use intermittent fasting as a tool to support their weight loss goals. Another health benefit is an increase in growth hormone. Now, growth hormones help to support skeletal muscle. And as many of us know, as we become older, wiser, and more fabulous, maintaining healthy skeletal muscle is very important for good health and for longevity. And it can also really support weight loss goals because the more lean muscle mass you have on your body, the more calories, the more energy your body is going to burn. Another incredible benefit of intermittent fasting is a process called autophagy. Autophagy is a cellular process where the cells are able to break down and recycle their own damaged components, which allows them to get rid of any debris and maintain cellular health and cellular function. This plays a crucial role in overall health, protecting against diseases and supporting longevity. But do keep in mind that in order to reap the rewards of autophagy, you need to be fasted somewhere between 14 and 17 hours, depending on which expert you follow. Another benefit is gut health. Fasting allows your body to turn on a gut cleansing process called the migrating motor complex. Now, this is a pattern of rhythmic contractions in both the small intestines and the stomach that allows the system to push out undigested food and bacteria. And this keeps your gut feeling very happy and healthy. Fasting is also associated with lower inflammation in the body, improved heart health, and improved brain health. So clearly there are a lot of good reasons to experiment with intermittent fasting should you feel intrigued to give it a try. Okay, so we're going to talk about fasting windows in just a minute, but first I want to talk about what you can and cannot consume when you are fasting, because this is a question I get a lot. And here's the deal. It really depends what your intention is when you are fasting. But quick side note, I can tell you for sure, no matter what your intention is, creatine, collagen, and protein powders will absolutely break your fast? That is a question many of you have asked me before because sometimes I put those ingredients in my coffee. Now, here's the deal. If you are using intermittent fasting for weight loss, many would argue that you could do something called a dirty fast. And what that means is that when you're having coffee or tea in the morning, that you can add a little bit of heavy cream, of coconut cream, of MCT oil. And when I say a little bit, I mean about a tablespoon, okay? And then for sweetener, many would also say that you could do a little bit of stevia because stevia does not affect blood sugar the way other sweeteners do. And the theory here is that the fat and the little bit of sweetness is not enough to actually raise insulin levels, therefore it does not interrupt the fat burning process. But technically, the term fasting means 0 calories, which means you would not take anything in that had any calories at all. And this is specifically true if you're looking to reap the rewards of gut health and or of autophagy. In which case, what you are able to consume and still be in a fasted state would be water, sparkling water, black tea, black coffee, and or electrolytes. Which brings me to today's sponsor, LMNT. LMNT is an amazing zero sugar, high quality electrolyte company that can enhance your daily diet, especially if you are fasting or even if you're simply somebody who likes to focus on eating a diet of real whole foods with minimal processed foods like myself. It contains a science-backed electrolyte balance of sodium, magnesium, and potassium that can help to replace and balance out electrolyte levels in the body. Now, a lot of people don't realize that very clear signs of electrolyte imbalances include headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, and sleeplessness, specifically in this very hot weather. I know here in New Jersey, it's well over 90 degrees. And personally, I feel such a huge difference in both my energy levels and my feeling of hydration when I drink LMNT. It is just not the same when I drink regular plain water. I literally crave it. I look forward to drinking it every single day. Now, if you were going to drink electrolytes during your fasting window, but you wanted to be really careful or really strict, then you might want to choose the raw, unflavored LMNT packets. But I also know that a lot of people will still drink the flavored packets when they are fasting, myself included. And while I don't fast every day, my husband does, and he always drinks the flavored packets. So ultimately, that's a decision that you can make for yourself. Now, personally, I love the mango chili and I love the raspberry salt. My husband, he's an orange salt and a citrus guy, but they have so many flavors to choose from, including a chocolate salt, a watermelon salt, a grapefruit salt, so many good ones. And right now, LMNT is offering everybody in the Clean and Delicious community a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serve packets with any LMNT order, which is a great way to test out all 8 flavors. So you can get yours at drinklmnt.com/DannySpees. This is only available with my link. So you want to visit drinklmnt.com/DANISPIES. And I'm also going to leave the link for you down in the description box below. So how long should you fast for? There are different fasting windows within a 24-hour period. Usually you will see people fasting anywhere between 12 to 22 hours. But technically, any period of time when you're not eating is considered a fast. So sometimes we have to just look where we are and then build upon there. Often what you will see, and I feel like what most experts are recommending to the average person who's new to intermittent fasting, is to aim somewhere between 12 and 16 hours. So what you would want to do is work your way up to 12 and then slowly but surely add an extra hour until you can comfortably get to 16 hours or comfortably get to whatever fasting window feels like the right balance for you. And the easiest way to determine your fasting window is to think about what time you like to eat your last meal in the day and then work backwards. So if you like to eat dinner at 7 p.m., then you would not eat again until 7 a.m. the next day. And then if desired, you can slowly build from there. Maybe the next day you wait till 8 and then a few days later you go till 9 and eventually you get to 10. But I will tell you this, pro tip, no matter what you do, always include your sleeping hours in your fast time because that's going to make fasting a whole lot easier. And the last piece I want to talk about is food. While intermittent fasting is not a diet and is technically not focused on the food, but rather the hours in the day when you are not eating food, I do think it's important to note that the types of meals you eat within your eating window can affect how easy or difficult your fast is going to feel. Ultimately, the name of the game is to eat blood sugar balancing meals, meaning you want to eat meals that are rich in protein, fiber, and healthy fats, and you want to minimize highly processed flours and highly processed sugars, or really any type of food that's going to create a big spike in your blood sugar. So good quality sources of protein, plenty of vegetables, fresh fruits, healthy fats like nuts, seeds, and avocados, and then of course whole grains based around how you feel and your activity levels. And quite honestly, this really isn't different than any healthy dietary approach, right? If you look at all of the different dietary approaches in the world and you look at the through line, they're all kind of saying the same thing at the base, right? Let's focus on real whole foods as close to their natural state as possible, most of the time prioritizing protein, fiber, and healthy fats. And if you need some help or a little bit of inspiration with food or recipes or cooking, I have hundreds of easy, healthy, delicious recipes for you right here on Clean and Delicious. And I will also say, as this is a kind of a toe in the water beginner's guide, that if this is speaking to you and it's something you feel like you want to experiment with, but you're not sure if it's the right decision for you, you may just want to consult with your healthcare provider just to get the extra support and guidance that you may be needing. Okay, now as always, I am so curious to hear from you all. Do you fast? Are you considering fasting? Do you have any tips or insights to add to the content that I've just shared? I'd love to hear literally anything you can add to the conversation. If you can come on down to the comment section below, this way we can all continue to support each other as we learn and grow. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Danny Spees, and I will see you back here next time with some more Clean and Deliciousness. Cheers!